All right, today we're learning about adding and subtracting fractions, both with common denominators and without common denominators. So we should be on page 205 in our books. Page 205 in our books. In example 1, we're adding fractions that have common denominators. Now, the first thing you want to ask yourself when you're adding and subtracting fractions is, do they have common denominators? If they don't, that's the first thing you have to do. So in this example, we have 2/5 plus 5/9. Or I'm sorry, 2/9. 2/9 plus 5/9. All right? So, common denominator, class?
9.
Yes, there is a common denominator. So, you add the numbers in the numerator and you bring over your denominator. You do not add the numbers in your denominator. It's not 9 plus 9 equals 18. That's not what you do, okay? The denominator tells me how many pieces are in my whole, okay? So it doesn't make sense to add the numbers in our denominator. So 7/9 would be my final answer because it cannot be reduced. All right, so what if you had, let's say 5/8 plus 1/8? What would be your answer? Go ahead and just do it right there on your paper real quick. Steven?
6/8.
Nope.
3/4.
What is it, class? 3/4. It is 6/8. But then you have to reduce it to 3/4. Don't forget that you always want to reduce your answer. Always want to reduce it. All right, now in example 2, we're subtracting fractions. All right, so we have 7/8 minus 3/8. And what's 7 minus 3? 4. Okay, so that would be 4/8. Final answer?
1/2.
1/2, because I have to reduce it. And good news, you don't have to show me what you're dividing by to reduce it. Okay, so we're past that. That was back in chapter 4. Now that part you can just do mental math. So you would say 4/8 equals 1/2, and you would box it in. All right, what if I gave you 15/18 minus 6/18. What would be the answer? What would be your answer? Brayden, what do you think? Okay, which reduces to what? Very good. 1/2. All right, so what do you need to remember from examples 1 and 2? Simplify your numerator. Add or subtract the numbers in your numerator. Bring your denominator over. But remember, the first question you want to ask yourself is, do I have a common denominator? In example 3, we have 3/4 plus 2/3 equals 5/7. What mistake did I make? Or did I make a mistake, or is that my answer? What do you think, Carlos?
No common denominator.
There is no common denominator, and I added the numbers in my denominator, which is definitely not right. So the first thing I need to do is I need to find my common denominator. Now remember, this one's pretty simple, so if you know it without having to do any work, that's fine. But mentally, you want to start with the largest denominator. Does 3 go into 4? No. And this is just what you're doing in your head. You don't have to write this down. Does 3 go into 8?
No.
Does 3 go into 12?
Yes.
Okay, so 12 is my LCD. So I'm going to make 12 my LCD. All right, now you don't necessarily have to show this step of what you multiplied by in your old fraction, but I do think it's a good idea. So what I'm writing in parentheses here, you don't necessarily have to show on your homework tonight, although I do think that it helps. Okay? Now, you must, however, have this right here in your homework. If you don't show how you found common denominator and what your new fractions are, you will not get credit for these problems on any homework quiz or test. So it's important that you show how you found the common denominator. And then 9 plus 8 is going to be 17 over 12. Final answer?
No.
What would be your final answer, Isaiah?
Wait, do you turn it into like a mixed number?
Yes.
1 over 5/12?
Yes, very good. 1 and 5/12. I always want you to change your answer back to a mixed number. All right, don't leave your final answer as an improper fraction. Unless I specifically say change this to an improper fraction like we did last chapter. Anytime we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing fractions, I want you to have your final answer as a mixed number, not improper fraction. All right, last but not least, we have example 4. We have a word problem. Before a rough piece of wood can be used in building a house, it needs to be squared off and sanded. All right, during the process, the thickness of a rough piece of wood is 5/8 of an inch thick and is always reduced to 7/16 of an inch. How much thinner is the wood now? So how am I going to set this up? The first thing I want to ask myself is, what operation is involved in this word problem? What operation is going to be involved here? Adding or subtracting? What do you think? Will I add or subtract? Justin? I'm going to subtract. And I'm going to subtract what two numbers? What am I going to subtract here? Anybody think they know? It says that the original piece of wood is 5/18 of an inch, and it's reduced to 7/16 of an inch. So I start with 5/8 of an inch, and I reduce it to 7/16 of an inch. So how much did I reduce it by? Okay, well, can I just do 5 minus 7? What do I have to do first? Corvus, what do I need to do first? Need to get a common denominator. And what's going to be my LCD? 16. So multiply top and bottom by 2. And you get 10 over 16 minus 7 over 16. And that gives you 3/16 of an inch. Is how much they reduced it by. And if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 5.1.